Do you let your scouts take electronic devices on scout camp? Well, that's what we're talking about today. Well, that's because of a recent debate, hot topic I've had with my wife about my daughter going on PGL. She went away last week with her school to PGL for a whole week, and it was a strict no phones, no electronics, nothing like that, banned. So we were trying to persuade my daughter to be naughty, break those rules, and take a phone so we could stay in touch with her. And she is very... I don't know what the word is, but she doesn't break any rules. She doesn't like to upset people. If the school says no, she will say no. We were trying to explain that she could smuggle it into a wash kit. They're not going to find it, that kind of thing. And we will just text every now and then and just to see how you are and if you need to talk to us. And it was a blanket, no way, mom and dad. So I asked that very question to my scouts. I'm lucky enough, I have some really honest and open scouts that if I ask them a question or some advice, maybe as a dad or even as a scout leader, they will tell me what they think. So I asked them, have you ever smuggled anything on a scout camp or on a school trip such as PGL? Interestingly, they said they haven't at scouts. They do bring a phone, but that's just so they can stay in touch with their mom and dad, but they don't take out texting. So I was like, okay, fine, that's cool. But they did confess that they did take some electronics to PGL with them. One scout told me he brought a mobile DVD player and they watched movies up until late and stuff. So it always got me thinking, well, why doesn't my daughter want to take her phone? First few days of my daughter being away at PGL, bearing in mind this is the first time she's ever been away, was a nightmare, both for myself, my wife, and her brother. It drove us insane, not knowing what Grace was up to, what she was doing, those activities. We knew she was safe, but we wanted to know, has she done abseiling? Has she done the rock climbing? And what has she been up to? Then midweek, it was just kind of like, you know what, just accept that she's not staying in touch. It was okay with me. My wife found it really hard. But she returned back and we got an update. She told us all what she's got up to. And it got me thinking, actually, her not taking her phone was the best idea ever. Because one, my wife would have been constantly texting her during the evening, and it might have played havoc with the feeling homesick and stuff, and also just constantly trying to text and maybe her phone being discovered, and then Grace getting in trouble rather than my wife. So my wife having time away from her was a good thing, in my opinion. It allowed Grace to learn that she doesn't need her phone all the time. This trip for my daughter taught me many things. One, as a parent, but also it's really helped me as a scout leader. So for a while ago, I was just not having arguments, but I was having debates with my other leaders going, we should allow scouts to bring phones and whatever. It's all, you know, technology. We should be moving with the times. Scout is a movement, isn't it? So we should move forward. Everyone has tech, both young people and adults, so we should just allow them to bring it to scout camp. And it got heated and people arguing and stuff, and there was no clear yes or no. So we've just put a blanket ban. Now, as a parent, knowing what I know now of Grace being away for a whole week with her school and not having a phone, how important that is. Yes, I would have liked her to have a phone, as I explained about catching up and finding out, but I think as a parent, we would have been constantly texting and texting, and that would have caused homesickness. I promise you, I think we would have gone to Dorset and picked Grace up on maybe day 2 or 3 if we were texting her. So allowing her to have that bit of independence away from technology done the trick. It hasn't affected her being away for 1 week without a phone. Okay, it affected us as parents, but that's something different. So going back to the question I asked, do you think we should allow scouts to take technology, in particular phones, to camp? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm still a firm believer that we should allow technology. You know, we're in the 21st century, we're moving forward, everyone has tech, and we know scouts are going to smuggle those phones in. But I think we need to have a clear rule that phones aren't allowed to be out and about. You can't take them on activities. Imagine dropping it on the high ropes or canoeing or something like that. But maybe if you want to text your friends at night time while you're, you know, laying in bed in your sleeping bag, bunk room, wherever, I think that should be fine. I don't know. So scout leaders, what do you think? Now, don't just say no just because you've always done it that way. Step back like I'm doing. Think of the reasons. Should or shouldn't we allow phones, tech to scout camp? And I'm not talking about laptops and projectors and that kind of stuff. Are you allowing your scouts? Explorers are a little bit different because they're more grown up, they're more responsible. But are we looking at Scouts bringing phones to camp? Yes, no, don't know. As Big Brother would say, you decide.